Hey friends, this is Amber Smith from 200fingersandtoes.com, and this is the In Due Season Homeschool Podcast. Today, I want to have a short conversation because I am seeing quite a bit of things in the news and questions online, and it is leading me to have this line of discussion that I think we need to lay out before homeschooling parents right now. One thing that I'm just deeply kind of concerned about as I see kind of an underlying question about how we interact with the public school. And first, I'll explain a few things about how I have interacted with the public school in the past. And then I'll share a little bit about what I'm seeing just across the board in the questions that I'm seeing on the internet right now. So, currently in Iowa, the law as it stands allows homeschool parents to partner with the public school in a associated way that's called dual enrollment. So you can choose as a homeschooler in Iowa to be IPI, which is an independent private instructor. That means you want nothing to do with the public school system and you have no expectations of interacting with the school at all whatsoever. If you choose that route, you fill out no paperwork and you do not have to answer to anybody. If you have currently removed a student from the district, you do need to just send a letter that says you intend to homeschool. That is it. If the district contacts you and requests information, you can simply send a form that says, I intend to homeschool my student this year. That is all the interaction that you require if you choose to file as an independent private instructor. Now, in Iowa, you can also be a certified private instructor, and that's going to leave you some choices of how you want to interact with the school. If, again, you choose to have no interaction with the school, you may file that form with your public school, and you have to follow up with no further interaction. If you choose a dual enrollment option, you may choose how you want to interact with the school in 3 different ways. So you will file a CPI form, which is a certified private instructor form. You will choose how you want to do your reporting. So if you're independent, you're just going to do an opt out with no reporting, which means you want nothing to do with the school. If you intend on connecting with the school for services, for dual enrollment classes or athletics, then you're going to choose the CPI, which is the certified private instruction, and then you're going to choose your form of reporting. Now, currently in Iowa, there are 3 choices. So you may choose to have a reporting with a testing option, which means that you will arrange for the testing. You will have that finalized and done by a specific date and time, and you will return your child's testing results to the public school to have on file. That is one of your options. You may choose to do the CPI form and you will have a supervising teacher option. That means that you will connect with a certified public school teacher who has a folder number and who is authorized to teach at your child's level. That means that she has to be certified for elementary if you have elementary students and endorsed for high school if you have high school students. So that's all that means. You will have a supervising teacher of which you are required to have 4 meetings a year, 2 of those face to face, and 2 of those can be over the phone or through correspondence of any sort. That teacher will fill out a form at the end of the year and basically say that she sees that your children have provided or your children have obtained adequate progress throughout the school year in her meetings. It's nice to have a resource if you don't feel confident about what you're doing and you would like somebody who has some teaching knowledge to maybe connect with. That is a good option. If you can find a homeschool friendly advocate, that's a better option. The difficulty in this option is finding a public school parent or a public school teacher who is confident with the method of homeschool teaching, who has confidence in your skills, and who's willing to share resources with you. The third option is that you may, again, fill out the CPI form and you may connect with the public school system in a HACCP or a homeschool assistance program. And you may join that program. Now, in that program, the public school will define the curriculum that you are allowed to use in your homeschool. So, again, that means that the public school is overseeing your curriculum choices. You may still teach other things in your home, but you may not purchase or teach other items that they are associated with you. So there's just a little bit loss of parental control and and the opportunity to choose your own curriculums as defined. So, three options. Here's where we get into the muddy waters. I am seeing currently parents who are new to homeschooling, who are just maybe taking their kids out of the public school system, and they are connecting with their local school and saying, I want to do CPI, I want to dual enroll. And I insist upon receiving certain services. I'm hearing this year students not being allowed to go to public school dances. I am hearing about students not allowed to go on field trips. I am hearing from parents surprised that the public school is not accepting their credits that their student has earned while homeschooling, and now the student is coming back to the public school or has an expectation to graduate with their public school classmates. And I think it's really, really important, A, that we understand our rights as homeschoolers, yes, but also that a lot of those things are dictated by the district. Those are things that are dictated at the school level and can be independently determined by those schools. So, access to things like school dances, access to things like field trips aren't really a service of the education department. Those would be extracurricular activities. Those are outside of school hours. So sometimes those are considered like volunteer activities. Things like sports access, those are things that by law we're currently able to join. And in some states, it's very progressively growing to allow homeschoolers to be a part of those activities. Other states like Kansas, Colorado, places like that have barred homeschoolers from accessing any services from the public school. So, up until recent years, you were unable to attend public school classes if you chose to homeschool. You were also unable to compete in athletics in any capacity in the public school if you chose to homeschool your student. So I think there's a disconnect between the sacrifice that the early homeschool advocates took on as a price to pay for choosing to homeschool. And now I'm seeing this influx of questions demanding really rights to public school access. And I just want to step back and maybe open the conversation to talk about the cost and counting the cost and being aware of what that price that you're paying when you choose to homeschool could possibly be. Because A, I want parents to have their eyes wide open. I'm really, um, I don't want to say fearful, but I think it's disappointing to parents when they get to the high school level and think their child's going to graduate at the public school and are shocked when they hear that the school is doesn't want anything to do with the credits that they have earned. It's really important that we be clear to new homeschooling parents that when you choose to homeschool at the high school level, unless you go through an accredited school that is going to certify and verify your test scores and your child's work throughout the entire school year, that the school is not going to accept any classwork done outside of the public school classroom. And that's an important thing for you to understand when you're thinking about the sacrifice that you're making. Now, I understand the desire to go to special events. I understand the loss of not being able to attend field trips with your classmates. I understand even the frustration of not being able to attend school dances and thinking about your child missing homecoming and prom. But what I want to hold out to you is this. What what is the purpose behind our choice to homeschool? What is the driving purpose behind your choice to pull your child out of the public school and bring them into this community of homeschooling? And understanding that that is going to come at a cost. There has been a mass exodus in the public school system right now. We are seeing record numbers of students leaving the public school. Now, until then, homeschoolers have been a novelty. Homeschoolers have been a frustration. Homeschoolers have been a challenge in the side of public school. And I think that we've seen some cooperation and growth. But with this huge drive of parents leaving the public system, I'm just saying we are going to see a pushback. And I would be remiss if I wasn't talking to my community about understanding the cost that we might be asked to pay as we choose to continue to homeschool. Now, there's a bright side to this. Yes, you might be closed out of using your public school dollars. You might be closed out of using your public school facility. But this is what I have seen. You know what communities have vibrant homeschool sports teams? Do you know what communities have huge co op connections and large support group communities? The states where they did not have access to the public school. In Colorado, in Kansas, in places where homeschoolers did not have access to sports, they have built whole communities of athletic teams. We're seeing this growing in Iowa, and Homeschool Iowa is working on putting together a list of all of the different athletic communities and teams that have built even their own tournament systems and have traveled out of state to compete against other homeschooling sports groups. So there is a growth, but until homeschoolers stop demanding for the public school to provide for them what we can cultivate and create on our own, we are not going to see the growth in those areas that we need for future generations of homeschoolers. So I really want to have a warning of parents understanding like there is a price that you will be asked to pay when you choose to homeschool. And I don't want anybody to be shocked. I don't want anybody to be set back or rethink their idea of choosing to homeschool because they're missing out on a Valentine's dance. And I know parents are not that shallow minded, but it can be hard. It can be hard to remove your child from school. It can be hard to remove your child from their friend groups, and then also continue to add more and more things that you realize they're missing out on. But I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to connect with your homeschool community at the local level. I want you to start seeking out opportunities and connecting with other parents who are looking for the same thing. I would love to see homeschool proms pop up in every quadrant of the state where we have an opportunity to, you know what, pour our dollars into an event that we support, into an event that honors our ideas, into an event that supports our own homeschool kids and aligns with our culture and our life choices and our values. And so I just encourage you as parents, as you're looking to homeschooling to solve maybe a problem that you're seeing academically, maybe a problem that you're seeing in behaviors, maybe a problem that you're seeing just in your family culture, as you look to homeschooling to become that source for you to have an answer to that issue. I don't want you to be discouraged by looking at the things you're missing out of as a determining as a detriment to your choice to homeschool. I want you to see them as opportunities. I want you to see that, yes, you know what, we're going to take our kid out of the school, and now I don't have this support net of field trips, and so I get to be creative. I have the freedom to say, you know what? It's field trip Fridays from here on out. Like, we're going to plot out some fun activities and we are going to go check out some places around us. Maybe we're going to make a trip. I just saw November Chicago museums have plenty of free days to travel and go see the museums at no cost. And that is happening all over the US. And so, I encourage you, be creative in looking for ways to solve these things that can be maybe at the beginning look like a little bit of a trap too, to say, hey, you know what, if you homeschool, you're going to miss out on X, Y, and Z. And don't think that you're not going to see that increase over this next school year. You're going to see a lot more doors closed to homeschoolers. You're going to see a lot more pushback from smaller schools who are losing a number of students, which means losing paying student dollars that are coming into their school, and they're going to fight hard to keep those dollars, which means ensuring that parents fearfully stay connected to their public school out of a fear. Pressure. And I don't want to see parents make those kinds of choices. I would like to see parents make informed choices based on logic, based on truth, based on what is the real facts in front of them. So if you have questions about the laws of homeschooling in Iowa, I really encourage you to check out homeschooliowa.org. They have all of the laws written out really clearly. I would get on their voter voice app and sign in and make sure that you get alerts when there's laws, when there's things proposed in legislation that are talking about homeschoolers. They're going to let you know, and they're going to be following up on those things. Their advocacy team is going to be keeping an eye out all year long on the kinds of things that affect homeschoolers at the state level. But also, let's start connecting with people on the local level. Let's start getting connected with small homeschooling groups. Let's find the homeschoolers in your community and start networking now while our kids are young, so that when we want to maybe have some opportunities, when you want to look at athletics, when we want to look at high school events and things like that, we could provide meaningful connections. We can provide meaningful events with kids in their own community. We can connect in ways that are important and that add to our homeschooling experience, instead of parsing things out and doing things as we've always done because that's what's expected. I just want to encourage you. I have done every level of connection with my homeschool. Like, we have homeschooled independently, we have homeschooled with dual enrollment, we have been involved with sports. My kids have taken classes at the high school level. I have seen all different ways to interact, and it can be done well with a parent leading the way. Um, but I am seeing with my younger group, who has been, I think, more deeply involved in their public school peers and have maybe done more dances, more just like outside of school community items. And I will say there is definitely a difference in attitude, and there's definitely a difference in culture in this younger group. And even I am seeing the desire to kind of pull back a little bit and see, can we maybe build a stronger homeschool community for this group, because my older kids had peers that were homeschooling and this group does not. And so I have seen firsthand the difference in having a clear homeschool community surrounding your students than to have my youngest group, who has basically been the only homeschoolers their age. And I see that that has definitely been a change in the culture as well. So, three things I want to encourage you. Firstly, do your research when you're thinking about homeschooling. If you're considering the idea right now, this is by no means a negative response. This is by no means a note to say maybe homeschooling is not for you. It's 100% not. Homeschooling, if you're feeling called to do so, I encourage you to jump in and do it. But I'm saying, make sure that you understand what the laws are. Make sure that you understand that if you have specific goals, can you reach those goals? If you have specific desires, how can you use homeschooling to meet those desires? And then also, I do not want the school system to put a carrot in front of you or threaten you with some sort of loss that makes you question whether the desire to homeschool is valid or good enough to come up against that opposition. And so I just want to be really clear that, like, as a homeschool community, we need to rise up as current homeschoolers, as past homeschoolers, as homeschoolers nearing the end of our homeschool experience. How can we, in hindsight, provide better foundations, provide better networks, provide better tools and resources for the current new homeschoolers that are coming into the homeschool community now. And so I just want to encourage you, if you have a gift and a talent, if you have a resource, if you have a group, I just get the word out there and reach out to these new families who are coming into homeschooling. Help them see the community around them as well. And then as you're looking at the things that you're missing, if you feel like, man, I'd love to homeschool, except my kid is going to miss out on X, Y, or Z, let's throw that out to the community. Let's talk about, hey, how can we provide these kind of events for our kids? And I guarantee there's a community out there that wants to incorporate these events, that wants to make milestones in our school year special. And you might just be the generation to bring those things about here in this homeschooling community. So that's really the purpose of In Due Season Homeschool. This is our time. This is the time for parents to rise up and take back their kids, to take back education and make it meaningful, to take back their family culture. And so In Due Season is saying now is the time to create the life that you want to live, and do it in a way that fits your family's culture, goals, and desires. And we want to come alongside you and support you while you do that. So if you have homeschooling questions, you can find me at 200fingersandtoes.com. That is my blog. I've had it since 2011. It is full of resources, tips, ideas, homeschool lifestyle, more curriculum reviews and guides. So I encourage you to just put in the search bar whatever it is you're searching for, and there are almost 300 articles that can help you just find resources and ideas. If you have a question, DM me on any of your favorite social media. I am on all of them at 200 Fingers and Toes, and I would love to hear your experience. If you have questions about maybe how you're being treated by the public school, reach out. Reach out to the homeschool community. You can connect with Homeschool Iowa at their discussion group on Facebook. Reach out to a small group in your area. You can go to the group finder at the homeschooliowa.org, and you can find small groups in your area. Search it up online and just look and see if there's a group in your community, and start getting connected now. But I would love to help you build the culture and community that you need to have a successful homeschool year. But I'm telling you, all you need is a willing parent who is going to say, you know what, I'm going to do the work, and I'm willing to find out what I need to find out to build the best homeschooling experience for my family. That is step one. And if you're doing that right now, then I'm proud of you, and you are on the road to success right now. So that was just a quick update. I would love to hear your comments, and let's just further that discussion of these kinds of things that are happening in our community. How can we just prepare ourselves and be willing to pay the price to choose to homeschool your way and build your family culture? That is all I have for this session of In Due Season. I will talk to you again very soon.